What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Door Bumper Clear. Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace. Dean Thompson this week. Hi, Tom. How are you today?
That's all you spotted for?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Not Bubba. Did you mention Bubba?
Yeah, I did. Well, I mentioned Bubba. Yeah, I do him every week, just in case you were wondering.
Tommy Baldwin, competition director, Rick Ware Racing, modified car owner, crew chief.
I wouldn't even claim that thing after the run you had the other night in a modified.
It's pretty bad. It was good until it wasn't.
As long as you weren't fighting this week, I think it's
Almost,
okay.
but
Well, it's more entertaining when he fights.
True. It's worth it more. Karsyn Elledge, marketing and partnerships for the Cars Tour. Had a quiet weekend. I was just a supportive older sister this weekend for Wyatt. So
Another win.
Another win. Yep. L-Dub said now we can maybe go late model racing. We're done screwing around with limiteds, he says. So time to go late model stock racing. But our guest today, Tony Hirschman. I can't believe you want to come sit on here with Tom and Freddie, but
Hi, Hirsch. How are you today?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Get close. Make sure you get close to the mic. The mics are. You got to basically put it in your mouth.
Yeah,
That's not-
I'm a Hirschman, so I'm soft-spoken, so I guess I got to move in closer. But yeah, Tony Hirschman.
you're actually the loudest one of the three.
I'm the only one to talk, so
gonna say,
it's a low bar.
The loudest is a very low bar because the only time I've ever listen. Big Tony, the Pope, will talk a lot. Just let him probably after Saturday night last week was probably I would take us through that phone call from your dad after the race is over because I've been in the car a couple times when some shows go down and Big Tony will call in because if you don't know the background, the Hirschman family. Legendary modified drivers. Tony's dad, Tony, is a 5-time tour champion. Matt Hirschman is probably the best driver of this generation, modified drivers.
I rank them top 5 of all time.
Yeah. And they're probably the cleanest race car drivers you've ever seen. So anytime something goes down like last week, Big Tony gets pretty fired up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, this is from the Xfinity
race.
race?
Yeah. So I spot for Taylor Gray on the Xfinity side. Unfortunately, we were on the receiving end, and I got the phone call, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really, really good. But honestly, my mom was the one that was the most fired up because she was like short texting me. She's like, that's terrible. Then the next text, that's not racing. And she just kept firing. I'm like, oh, that's awesome, Mom. I appreciate it.
Mom's fired up.
She was fired up. But they were all in the garage working on Matt's stuff and watching the race. And obviously it was disappointing because, Taylor was trying, that was his first Xfinity win. He kind of got robbed out of a truck win last year. So that's 2 Martinsville races in a row where you're leading at the end and you kind of get the broom and you don't get what you deserve. But Dad was not impressed with that driving style at the end of the race. And like he said, just when you run the short track stuff, like if I pulled the move like that at Mahoning Valley when I run my 2 or 3 4-cylinder races a year, like it's not 3 days later where they decide like that's not going to cut. It's like 3 seconds later you're to the back. So that's kind of what his mentality is. Just the driving he was not impressed with. But that it wasn't handled right there in the moment, and the bar was set like this is just not acceptable. And so obviously penalties come out later in the week. But yeah, we had a good conversation on what do you do? Like, how do you protect against it? And like he said, you're the leader. It's Martinsville. You can only drive in so many car lengths deeper. Like, yeah, you want to get away from the guy, but you can't just hold it to the mat. You can't wall ride like Ross did. So there's really no protecting against it. You're putting your faith and your trust. Hey, I did what I had to do, and I earned this position at the end of the race to go for the win. So you're putting your faith in the other guys to treat you with respect and race you with respect. And unfortunately, that was not the case. So obviously, it turned into a mess that night, that week. Penalties coming out, but at the end of the day, the hard part is, hey, we're all there to win for sure, 100%. But you run 249 and 3/4 laps. Everybody earned a position that they're in. Our car was clean. Sammy's car was pretty clean. Justin's car was pretty clean. Everybody, you run the race out, you went through the cycles, you earned where you were going to finish. And if it just runs through 3 and 4, everybody would have got what they deserved as far as finish. And instead, we went from first to wherever we finished, 29th. So that's a big hit. You stole somebody's first win away. That's a big hit. And ultimately, none of the guys earned or got what they earned all race long. So I know it's easier said than done, and how to police it, and I know there's a lot of differing opinions on that. But in my eyes, and my dad said the same thing, it would have just been nice if everybody finished the race, got what they earned, what they deserved. Everybody had clean cars, and you go to the next week, and obviously you know my family. You want to win every week. You don't always win every week, but you got to go and then when you do get beat, you go shake the guy's hand like, hey, you had us this week. I mean, you beat Matt a bunch of times. You come over and congratulate him when he wins. That's the racing game. That's how we grew up. That's how we were raised to do it. And unfortunately, sometimes or more times than not these days, it's not the way it goes.
Let me ask you both of you something, because we're having a lot of trouble with this, right? From your point of view, what could you guys do differently when you're getting ready to see that problem? Now, is it should be now more on your guys' responsibility to go, okay, hey, quickly, hey, he got you clean, let's settle in, let's finish second, let's have a good day of this. I mean,
Yeah.
Is this thought process, are you guys talking about this up top on how you can handle these situations differently?
I think that I know Tony was, because we've talked about this. We were pretty disappointed in how that spotter handled that situation. Just the radio communication, because yes, it's our job to, when something goes wrong, if you guy gets you, like Taylor moved him as nice as you could probably move somebody at Martinsville, as clean as he could do it, get back after Sammy had already moved Taylor for the lead.
Him rough.
Yeah, rough. On the restart, and had been trying for a couple restarts previous to that.
Three times, not one time. It was 3-0 at that point when we eased them back up.
But you hear the radio communication and the spotters telling him, go get him, drive in there and hit him, whatever it was, and it's like, that is, I feel like, unacceptable for me. And we saw a spotter get suspended last year for that, for whatever he said to Austin's guy at Richmond. But yes, it's on us to, and I say this about it. There's a handful of guys up there that kind of like, egg the situation on or pour kind of fuel on the fire, where, we were at wherever it was, Homestead, where the 48 passed us, and he kind of put us in an awkward arrow spot. We got tight and hit the fence, and Bubba chased him down, and I'm like, all right, just no reason to freak out here. If worst case scenario, we're going to finish second or third, in the years past, we might have made a different mistake there. But yes, it's definitely, I think, and you'll probably agree, I think it's on us to, do things the right way. Even if you, if I'm Bubba if I'm talking to Bubba in that position where Sammy is, just be smart. If I'm going down a backstretch, I'll be like, hey, maybe do what you got to do here, but don't, that was, if you're 3 or 4 car lengths back, I'm not even thinking that that's going to happen with Bubba, and I don't think it would. But
the first thing should be, hey, settle in, let's finish this off. But do you guys, do you think you guys should all, after this learning experience, right? It's happened twice in less than a year now. I'm going to say less than a year. Do you guys all get together and say, hey, man, what can we do differently to save this from happening? Save all the hard work from the teams, because you're the only voice that's in their head at the time, right? You're the only guy. The spotter's job is you're a psychologist as well, right?
He's got a degree in that, by the way.
Yeah.
Scary
I mean, you guys really are the voice of reasoning when things are getting ready to go. You guys are the first ones to see a problem before even probably the driver, right? So when does it come to a point of, say, you guys got to take on more responsibility of the group? Because all you guys talk, right? You guys are pretty much 90% of you guys up there are a really tight-knit group, right? So when do you guys get together and say, hey, man, we got to get ourselves out of this situation a little bit better?
You go into it more, but I know, you and Eddie DeHunt, who's he's kind of the elder statesman up there. He's one of the ones that people kind of look to for, whatever. But I know you and Eddie both text with Frankie that spots for the 8 last week, and made it pretty clear that that's pretty unacceptable.
Yeah, for sure. I went over after the race. Obviously, I was hot in the moment, and the response that I got was not what I was looking for. If it was like, man, he just messed up, and his response was that he gave it to us once, we gave it to him twice, or something like that, or we deserved it, we had it coming. I'm like, probably not the right response in the moment. So obviously, I was really upset about that. But I agree with you like that. And when I know people are listening. I know everything that we say is recorded. I know people are listening live in the moment, and I know people listen. Upcoming spotters, And I had one of them text me like during the week when he heard the audio, and he's like, "Wow," he's like, "That's not what I expected." I said, do not be that guy. I said, that's not what we're up there to do. That's not how we're there to encourage. And obviously, me working with a lot of the younger kids, I have Ty on the Cup side, and I've been working with him since the Xfinity side and a couple of ARCA races. I got Taylor Gray. Obviously, working at KBM for all those years, I was really blessed having the guys that I worked with on the truck side are, it was phenomenal. I had Eric Jones, Christopher Bell, Noah Gregson. I had Eckes. I had, just champions.
Basically, Hirschman never lost a race.
How many wins do you have total in all three
there's
series?
no way he knows.
Yes, he does.
I do.
No, of course he does. Yeah. I was kidding.
There's I don't want to come up.
Just say
Just
it.
say it.
I'm successful by association from growing up, with my dad. But
what's the number, stupid?
162
off.
Of all three
What do you
series.
got, Freddie?
That's
Of all three.
awesome.
I'm over 100 short track wins. I definitely don't have enough 100 national wins.
But like I said, I just successful by association. Everybody that I've been blessed on the professional side to work with, guys like Kyle Busch. You work with Kyle Busch enough years, you're gonna get some wins in all three series. But then working with the younger guys and obviously learning. Shame on me. I was born into the sport and got to go watch my dad race, and he's one of the greatest of all time. So if you don't watch and pay attention and pick stuff up like that on how to race and the way to go about business and the way to handle your weekends, then shame on us. And that's why my brother's as good as what he is, a huge part of the reason. We both grew up watching a legend and one of the best of all time to do it. So so we were really fortunate on that. But like I said, it's shame on us if we don't go out and be successful in what we try to do. Then when you have the bar set that high and that role model to look at and watch and learn from.
To that point, so there is a new group of spotters now,
yes.
right? A younger, and there's also a younger group of race car drivers, right? Mm-hmm. Who is the guy? You mentioned Eddie, you mentioned Tony, but who is the guy that can take control of this situation on the top of the spotter stand, and who's the guy of the race car drivers now who needs to be taking control? There always was a Mark Martin, right? And there always was a Jeff Burton. There always was somebody that you could go to or get that person to these drivers to be able to talk some sense into them. I don't know if we have that anymore.
Yeah, I feel like the last guy was Harvick as far as like the Cup side of things a couple years ago, because he was one of them guys that like you could see a change in him, especially like after Keelan was born. He went from kind of the hothead guy, and then he was like the most respected guy. I know Bubba went to him for some advice at times, and I feel like he was the guy. And to your point now, there isn't really a guy that I can think of off the top of my head. But the thing is, a lot of times. The thing that always drives me crazy is a lot of these, and you said new spotters, the younger group, they're more concerned with being buddies with the driver, or they're not going to tell them that they did wrong, and that's the worst possible thing that can happen. Because I was fortunate enough to work with Derek Kraus for a long time, and I mean I still do. He wants me to go spot next week. Next month. It's not happening, but he wants me to. But like he was one where I was fortunate enough. Like his family did not mind the fact that I was screaming at him on the radio about all the dumb he was doing. But a lot of times, we see guys get fired because they would just tell the driver, you just up. That was really dumb. Next week they got a new spotter because the parents didn't like to hear that the spotter telling their kid that he did something stupid. And no, that's not the way this is supposed to go. And I think that was a part of last week too.
That's definitely not. That's not the Hirschman mentality growing up. And I always said, when Matt first started racing, he makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. All the guys,
I don't know that
the
he
best
makes
in
mistakes.
I mean, look like Kyle Larson, one of the best race car drivers in all world, and he made a mistake at the beginning of the race yesterday and got damaged. But there for sure is too much back padding. And said when Matt first started racing, when he messed up, he didn't need the competitor to come up and tell him hey, my dad would have a hold of him first, and then I would have a hold of him second. So there was no back padding, and even to this day, like the phone calls that we have with my dad, it's not back padding all the time. It's like, well, why didn't you do this, or well, you need to do a better job of keeping him under control when this happens. And
every time you talk to your dad, it's never sunny out.
Yeah,
I mean it's always cloudy, right, with a chance of rain. That's his mentality. That's how we got through. That's how he's won all these races, because he's never thinking about the sun. Mm-hmm. He's thinking about how to get through the bad weather, right?
Yep.
And he's thinking about all the situations that are in front of him. So
yeah,
your family is it's a unique family. You guys never have to say much to get your point across, right? And and to make I can look at your dad and I know what he's getting ready to say. You know what I'm saying? It's like you said, your dad's a legend. Your brother's gonna be a legend when he retires, and they're both. I consider both of Matt and your dad, when it's over, to be in the top 10 of greatest modified drivers of all time, hands down.
Backtracking, just every time we go somewhere, do shows or whatever, but the first question is like, how'd you get into spotting? You have maybe one of the most unique paths to spot. Obviously, you grew up with your dad, but I mean, I know you went to college for what?
Psychology.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
Penn State psychology degree. You're still working all these years after.
Yeah.
And then from there, you went IndyCar racing first, right?
Yeah. Obviously, I learned this. I started spotting from my dad in '94, and it was '98 when the IRL was with us at New Hampshire. And what I tell a lot of the new spotters coming in, like back in the day, I wanted to do everything I could possibly do to work on my craft. I wanted to do an SK. I wanted to do a late model. I wanted to do a Busch North race. So, IndyCar was at New Hampshire, and I didn't really think that would be an option. And there was a couple teams were looking, and they come over and talked to our NASCAR officials, and they luckily, they kind of recommended me and said, young kid does a good job. So I did the IndyCar race, the IRL race at New Hampshire that weekend. And, that did a good enough job where they asked me to go to the next one. So I think the next one was like at Charlotte, and that was the first time I was ever on an airplane. So I'm like flying from Allentown to Charlotte, like, man, I've made it. Look at me, I'm on an airplane. And but like that weekend, the New Hampshire weekend, Matt actually spotted for Tony Stewart for whatever reason. So Matt he was like 1-0 in IndyCar race, so he spotted for Tony and won. But yeah, I did IndyCar stuff from '98, and then worked with a few guys, and worked with Sarah Fisher at the end of her career. And in the meantime, same thing, doing all the races I could. And I do the Busch race at Nazareth when we were there, the Busch race at Loudon when we were there, just picking up some. I worked with Phoenix Racing, like Jeff Purvis, and then when Dale Shaw run the car. So just doing whatever I could. And then Jeff Dickerson, he was my teammate there at IndyCar side there at Dreyer Reinbold, and then he kind of moved over and started doing more NASCAR stuff, and he kind of brought me in and did a few more non-companion races. I worked with Martin at Chance 2 there with Bono and that gang. That was really cool to work that modified gang, but started doing the NASCAR stuff full time, and I think 04, 05, and then 06 was my first full-time NASCAR season, and just kind of they haven't got rid of me yet. And
somehow you have transitioned that into being my babysitter on the road. I appreciate that.
Yeah, again, the psychology degree works on and off the racetrack.
All right, we'll get into some interesting road stories as we go. But how was your race, Tom?
It wasn't bad. Ended up 27th on the lead lap. He fought all day. He did a really good job. It seemed like once the 24 got within 10 car lengths of him, of getting ready to lap him, 24 was out of tires, and we were much better on a long run than we were on a short run. So, good team made some good adjustments at the end. Pit crew wasn't bad. Overall, solid day. No complaints.
Hirsch, first top 10 since what? Like 1995 for you guys?
Feels like last summer. Yeah, it's been a struggle to start the year for sure. So. We've had speed at times, like Daytona 500, for example. We took the white flag, and it was William Byron in front of us, and Reddick was behind us, so they finished 1-2, and we were in between them. So,
you should have stayed there.
Yeah, trust me, I wish. That was the plan. That was what was recommended. But I think when Riley got turned, he kind of just moved up to try to get away from him, and then they filled the middle on him, and we were hung up top, which we knew that was a losing proposition. It has been every plate race the last couple, and we've been in that spot a couple times. So. But yeah, it was good. Martinsville, we had some speed, got turned around and fought and clawed back and got a top 15, which, yeah, you always want more, but a top 15 was a good way to get the ball rolling in the right direction anyhow. And then yesterday said we, qualified okay and had decent speed at times. We had one run where we kind of got off and hurt the tires and we ended up getting lapped, but then we had the yellow before the end of the segment, so we just waved around and got back. But yeah, top 10, you take that. It's like it's you don't just swing for the fences and it's like, oh, the next week you go from running in the teens, like, oh, we're going to win a race now. So you got to look at the big picture and just start, climbing the ladder and climbing the rung by rung by rung.
You guys, big hire for the 54 team this week. Cheddar Smith, that has been the car chief for Rodney Childers forever, it feels like now. Was on the 7, came over to you guys. I mean, that's got to be a big boost for your team, just having that leadership in the shop now. Yeah,
for sure. It's the 54 team. It's a young team from kind of top to bottom. From driver obviously is young. We have Tyler Allen who's phenomenal, and obviously he did a great job on the Xfinity side. So he's our crew chief. He's a younger guy. Our engineers are younger guys. So, yeah, to bring somebody in like Cheddar with his experience and being around for as long as he had. And we were talking last week. I didn't really realize it till you sit down and look at it. I was about the oldest guy on the race team. I'm like, oh man, that's not comforting for me. Got a couple comments on my gray hairs.
I was going to say the gray hair.
Yeah. Well, I guess I gotta have to do something about that. 'Cause I got about 3 comments this week.
You got to use the same stuff your dad does.
Yeah.
His hair's never gray.
Yeah, he did. I hope to age as good as he does.
I think it's from the soot from the wood stove that he used.
I heard that story last night. Yeah, he took the coal stove out, and then but now it got cool again, so now he had to get wood. Now he's trying to scratch some wood up.
They don't have heat.
No,
you don't. Have ever been to their shop?
I've never been there. Thank God.
Yeah, Mom
they
didn't
throw
invite
me
him
out. Yeah, Mom has not invited me yet. Mom, when you said Mom gets excited, I knew that. I knew that story already was coming. I've seen that before at a couple turkey derbies. But yeah, for us, we had it's just a bad race yesterday for us, and we'll get into it more with just that one caution. Just kind of flipped the script for everybody, and it was just guys that were no good became good, and guys that were good became no good just with track position. But yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting race. Shout out to Danny. The guy's great.
Oh, geez.
Here we go.
What do you mean? What's
Here
wrong?
we go.
I mean, it's just what he had to do all day long.
He must have got paid today.
I think I did. What's today's date? But yeah, no. He finds himself in the right spot at the end there. And that's why you do. Like we talk about this all the time. Like if you put yourself in position, sometimes wins just happen to find you. Interesting Xfinity race. Brandon Jones outruns. You look at the lineup there, and you're like Ross, Christopher Bell's in the race. Chase Elliott, and you're like, all right, one of these guys is probably going to dominate. And Brandon Jones was really good all weekend and gets the job done.
Yeah, no, it was really good for Brandon for JGR, and that's Brandon's team was my team last year there when I had Sheldon Creed and spotted for him, and honestly at Darlington
so
last year.
So they got rid of you and started winning races.
It's a common denominator if you haven't seen the way my year's gone, but. Yeah, no, it was good for that gang. And also with Sheldon last year, we had a really good car. We were leading at the end of the race, too. We had passed Bell, run Bell down, past him, was kind of driving away. We had that late yellow, and late pit stop there, and then a green-white checker. And we just, I think we restarted third and just couldn't get by the front row there. So, obviously, the car was really good, and it was good for those guys. Sam McCauley, I think that was his first Xfinity win as a crew chief. So, that's good. After so many near misses last year that we had with Sheldon, which was plenty. It was good for them to close the deal and be able to get the W.
I like Sam a lot. Sam's a good dude. It was good to see him get his first one. You see this note about Blaney at the bottom of this page here?
I can't read.
I know. You don't got your glasses with you. We're on the first page, by the way.
Yeah. I knew you were going to
Blaney has lost 19 spots. Blaney lost 19 spots on pit road yesterday. He ranks 4th on the driver metrics, and the team is 24th. I mean, you're not going to win races. I mean, you see it yesterday first and foremost, but that can't happen. We have to call our buddy Ryan and see what the hell he's got going on over there. Maybe too busy building his modified. We got to check on him.
Ryan
Flores, he's a changer on the 12.
Yeah, but I didn't notice where his pit stall was.
So I just saw a video that's actually on the way in today or before I left the house, and the last stop. I think it was the last stop, I should say. Looked to me like the Jackman might have missed a post on the left side because I saw him go in. He went to pump, adjusted, went back in, and pumped again. So it looked to me like that was, and that's a killer. That's like we talk about. I mean, you talk about tenths of a second is 5 spots. So they had one stop where they were in the top 5 and they came out behind us. We were 15th. So they just had a tough day yesterday, and that's part of it. We talk about it all the time. Win and lose as a team, and if everything's not firing on all cylinders, it's really, really hard to win these races.
I was surprised that the 24 car didn't come out P1 after that pit stop for where they,
for their stall.
First stall, because Darlington is one of the most pit stall sensitive racetracks that we go to to gain positions. It's all about launch, and it's all about the curve. And 2-3 years ago, some of the strength was in the back, pitting in the back to get around that curve a little bit better, cleaner, right? That seems to gone away a little bit. But Denny did a really good job getting in and out of the box on that pit stop. I mean, they had a faster stop than most, but they didn't crank out an 8-second stop, right? It was still a mid-9, I think. Yeah. Denny did an unbelievable job getting in and out of that pit stall. That's what won the race.
You know why?
Because he's really good, right?
He's great.
He's great. He's so great.
I know you've said it before, but like Blaney, he didn't win the race yesterday. But just watching him, his maneuverability. Obviously, they have tons and tons and tons of speed right now. It's a shame that they don't have the wins that they, probably again like we talked about deserved. They deserved a few wins, but the speed they have, and yesterday it was impressive to watch him. His maneuverability, could run top, could rip the wall, could run the bottom. It just it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean he's done that all year. Right, and we talked last night. The 22 and the 2, that their setups, the floors, then underneath of the cars, they're all very similar. They're not really going to drive any different, right? I mean, the way he goes about it, and you guys see it more than most from up top watching, how he sets himself up to pass is way different than most. And he puts himself in that position to pass the correct way, to get him at the right spots of the track, to do the things. Because some guys get to somebody and they'll lose a quarter second, 0.3 of a second for 10 laps. Next thing you know, you're half a straightaway back and you still haven't passed the guy, right?
Right.
So he does a really good job, and obviously he was the best car at the end. The caution doesn't. Freddie doesn't run into the 5 car.
I didn't hit anybody. I don't know.
And spin the 5 car out. 12 wins. But I mean, he's good, man.
Yeah, he was like the only one I felt like that could overcome the deficit of being in traffic. Everybody else. We'll get into it, but Karsyn, take us to spot.
You want to get into it?
We do it?
All right. Kyle Larson wrecked off the bumper of Bubba Wallace with 4 laps to go, just as Ryan Blaney passed Tyler Reddick for the lead. Larson was 160 laps down at this point in the race. Spot on, spot off. Tommy.
I don't know, man, Fred. I mean, it's a little
tough. You want me to tell you what happened? I can tell you.
Wait, do we have video? Are we allowed to show it? Is it on flow?
We're not allowed to show it, but I can tell you what. I can honestly tell you what happened. So I watched this whole kind of playing out in front of us. The 12 ran the 45 down. He was going by him, and we went into turn 1. I was like, how can I get Denny the win in this race? I was like, Bubba's best friend's leading, our teammates running second. How am I going to be able to get my boy Denny a win here? And I was like, oh. I said, Bubba, just let Kyle go and then hit him as hard as you can.
Yeah, I see that.
And see if we can spin him out. And that's my side of it anyway. And it worked out. I'm sure Denny's going to send me a bonus check for this. But
weren't we just talking about you guys not telling them to do dumb?
Wow. Yeah. Well, listen, this is a big deal. It's a win. This is racing. We had to do that.
Absolutely had to do it.
And did what you had to do.
And to Larson's defense, after he came back out on the track, he was so conscious of not getting in everybody's way. And was doing such a good job. He was like, I don't even know why I'm out here. And I don't even know why he was out there. I don't even know why. I don't even know with this DVP on all the things that they fixed. If it was all the legal stuff, I don't he came back.
It looked to me like they put the front clip on
it. and it's like, what? I don't know if those parts were allowed in our DVP. I guess we got some more questions.
To your point though, I think that's why this wreck happened, was because he was being so conscious of everything else. Because you could see from his onboard, he's not close to the 45 when he hits the wall. He just
he was after you hit him.
He got closer. But it was. I think he just overly slowed down to make sure. Because
why was he even passing Bubba? It's at the end of the race. Yeah. He was doing. I know he just pitted, right? He just come out. He just come out of the pits. And he's probably running half throttle even. Yeah. At that, but look, man, it's just. I don't know, if I'm the crew chief and I'm 160 laps down and I cannot pass another car for point, Why even be
Why
out
go?
there?
Yeah, they were.
You know what? I mean, maybe they didn't want a DNF, maybe so they can show in their stats no DNF, maybe.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'll give them credit because they gained one spot, but that was 100 laps ago.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
okay.
But that was great. Once you get that spot,
Pull
it
out,
was
pull
75 laps to the next guy, and it was like 20 to go. You know, like,
Yeah.
so it's like
pull
unless
up.
you're
Again, he was doing all the right things up until then, staying out of everybody's way, pulling off. A couple of times he just went down on pit road for no reason at all, just to get out of everybody's way. He was doing it the right way, but right then, I mean,
it's just I mean,
Freddie, you nailed it.
It was a team villain move. If I've ever seen
I just told you what happened. Like,
You did all that on purpose?
Yeah. I had to get. I was like, that was the only way Denny was gonna have a shot. If I figured out how to get a caution right there, and that was it, buddy.
You nailed it.
Yeah, we got it. Hirsch. I mean,
Well, my question on that is you have the DVP question. My question is like,
I don't know what you're talking about. We talked about this last night. You're wrong. I'm sorry.
So earlier in the race, Riley was supposed to be the lucky dog, and when him and the 77 got hooked and kind of got together, so they did not give him the lucky dog because they said that he was involved in the wreck. So I got to know for down the road future reference, like what is the definition of being involved in a wreck? Why did Riley not get the lucky dog at that instance? And that looked pretty involved to me from what I saw.
Never touched him.
So
you got the lucky dog.
And he ended up with the lucky dog on that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Listen,
I just leaned back and gave him the look.
It could not look any worse than what happened here. And then the damn lucky dog on top of it. Like,
And then how many positions you
none.
gained?
We didn't get any
okay.
spots.
I was going to say.
Unfortunately, not one. We kind of like we're on like the last corner. We were like going to do the old slide job into 3 to clear SVG, and Bubba pulled it off, and we got to the top. We're clear, and then the 3 guys in front of us all wrecked and stopped, and SVG went back by us. So that was if we would have just hooked the bottom there, we would have gained about 5. Would have been nice.
I don't think with their tires on it, I don't think there was no bottom because you couldn't pit because you got the.
But we pit. We had the lucky dog, so we were able to pit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have the wave around. But I was not like when the yellow come out, I'm like, well, that was why we were actually, everybody's like, why were you racing? I'm like, we're racing because we're the lucky dog. And somebody, I think it was like the 43 maybe, was in front of them backing up hard at that point. And there's a spot, whatever it is. And
There was 1 to go, Freddie.
no, there was 2 to go. I think
Okay.
yeah, it was 2 or 3 to go at that point. But we were a half a second faster than them. We were catching them pretty quick.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so the yellow comes out, and I'm like, well, I guess we're not gonna be the dog because we just caused the wreck basically. And 23 is free pass. I was like, okay. And I think even Charles might have been like, he's like, I guess we'll just take the wave here if we can, whatever. And then I was like, we're the lucky dog. Come on, just go around. I'm glad they did it, but yeah, for sure we probably.
Did they throw the caution for the 45 hitting the wall instead of you guys?
Maybe. I mean, that's possible.
Well,
but
maybe if that was the case.
I don't think they threw it for the
There
4.
was
I'm pretty
definitely,
sure it was that heavy contact on the inside wall is what brought the yellow
I'm
out.
going to tee you up again because there was plenty of questionable cautions in this race, or just at least
Such
2 now.
as Brad Keselowski's wheel nut comes off in the middle of a green flag pit cycle, inciting a debris caution and forcing many drivers who had already pitted to take the wave around and lose all track position. Spot on, spot off, which I said Tommy last time, but he went ahead and went to you. You want to take it away, Tom?
I don't know where the lug nut
It was
ended.
so I don't know if you saw anything different. The way the piece of debris I saw them pick up was on the cookout sign against the inside wall on the restart zone against the inside wall. Nobody's run the inside wall at Darlington in when was that place built? That many years. So it was, nobody was ever going to get to it. They could have left it there all day long if they wanted to. But I just don't. I
think when it first happened, though, to NASCAR's defense, they waited a long time. They waited for everybody to pit on this
Not everybody.
one certain time.
They tried, but they never. So that was,
There was another instance that they did not throw the caution and they waited.
I think when the 6, so he had his issue there, and he half spun on the bottom,
Yeah.
and I thought that was going to be yellow, but they left it go,
Yeah.
and I think they were trying to get through the pit cycle.
But why? Why didn't they? Because they threw the yellow for that wheel nut that was nowhere near the racing surface. Like you let the guys. This is my point of we don't know what's a caution anymore. We don't, because I had just told Bubba I thought for sure the yellow was coming out. I don't know. I guess the wheel was falling off or whatever. It's flat. Now, he spins out. We just miss him. I was like, the yellow's still green. Stay green. Stay. Watch the 6. And he like almost overcorrected into us. But so we're just keep digging because the green's still out. And I'm like, the yellow's definitely going to come out. This guy's limping around the bottom of the racetrack with a very flat. And no yellow. I'm like, all right, I guess he's going to make it back. He gets on pit road. I'm like, okay, I guess we're not going yellow. And then like 2 laps later, the yellow comes out for nothing. Literally nothing. Like, and especially with this car and the way this package is, that changed the entire race for no reason whatsoever.
They tried a couple times. They come over to radio. How's turn 1 and 2?
Oh, yeah.
How's the backstretch? How's 3 and 4?
Yeah.
I mean,
you cannot overcome. You saw it firsthand. Guys that were not good became good. You guys were getting lapped at the end of the second stage or first stage, and then now you're a top 5 car, a top 10 car. The 20 was another one. 20 was battling to stay on the lead lap. You give him track position in the top 5, he runs top 5 the rest of the race. We were a top 5, top 6 car. We get back in the 20s. We never get out of the 20s. Priest, another one. He had to try the little Hail Mary move at the end to try to get track position back. Didn't work for him. Like, guys that were really good became really bad, and guys that were really bad became really good.
So who was good and who was bad at the end of the day?
Like the only guy that I told you, the only guy that was that was the best was the 12.
But the problem is, all 30 cars are good or bad. It depends on 35 cars, 36 cars are good or bad. It just depends on the situation.
We talk about it here. One spot makes a big difference. If you get one guy in front of you, you look at the damn 24.
Yeah. As soon as you got the 60 car, he started. He had a little more trouble.
Yeah.
As soon as someone else got him, he fell back to 4th. Got himself in another bad position. Yeah. Next thing you know, he was struggling.
Yeah, you look. The 24 was obviously the dominant car, best car on the racetrack all day long. You put him 3rd or 4th on that restart, never saw him again.
And obviously, we knew what his plan was, right? He was going to try and do what the 11 car and the 5 car did at Miami, right? He was going to. It was calculated, but if he kept dominating the race, put himself in position to dominate the race, he would have won, right? I mean, if he pitted 1 lap or 2 laps after the second place guy did, he would have still had the lead, right? Because he was far enough away, right? And he would have had 2 laps better on the tires, right?
To drive away.
And he still would have drove away. Darlington, I think, is a different animal than Miami, right? Because it's not a multi-group. It's a multi-group track, but it's so much more dirty air. I don't know if it's just where the walls are, the width of the track, the way everything's set up. It's just the air just stays there more than a place like Miami. And it was hard yesterday, man, to pass.
So your race, our races were exact opposite. Like, I feel like we were racing each other for a little while, and then I looked up, you're getting lapped. I was like, holy but then you stayed out for that caution. You get the benefit of it. Now we basically flip flop spots. You went from the back to the front, and I went from the front to the back. Like, how much does that affect your car? Just even balance wise with like Ty's comments.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that was definitely a difference maker on staying out and running long there. At that one point, I think we just hurt the tires and corded the tires, and we started backing up. We got lapped. But at that point, Bell was the next car in front of us. He was about even with us. Denny was only a couple spots in front of that. 19 was behind us. So we were all kind of mired there. And, that was our play was to run long on that stretch. And luckily, we caught a caution and put us all in the top 10. And like I said, it's completely different car. You look at lap times, you look at your maneuverability, you look at just performance. And obviously you're adjusting on it because you need help. But I don't think you can make enough adjustments to go and be that good. It's definitely track position related and relative, and it says a lot for just how you play the races out. And like you were talking about, like Rudy with the 24 there, you science it out as much as you can, but really it only takes like one guy that blends off a pit road. He could be 20 laps down to you, and he comes off a pit road with fresh tires, and he catches you at the wrong spot where you get a bleed, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, or something like that, and that makes a difference on whether you come out in front of a guy or behind a guy. So I appreciate the science that goes into it, and there's a lot that goes into it. But it only takes one little hiccup, and that throws your science off, and it puts you in a different position where you thought you should come back out at, and that makes all the difference in the world in your strategy.
Yeah. I thought it was funny yesterday. I saw a tweet this morning from Gluck that we were talking about it before, like. Gluck tweeted, I think at the time, Danny might have been the best JGR car. He was around like 17th, and the rest of them were like mid-20s. And he's like, yeah, obviously JGR, they just kind of missed it today. They're having a bad day. And then you fast forward to, flip the script with this caution. And, Danny, I think they were all going to run top 10 before that late caution. Obviously, Danny wins the race. Bell, I'm sure, was top 5, or I don't know where Bell was. You were top 10. So, I mean, it's just insane how much track position matters, and then that's what this caution did. You in a moment you don't. All right, I guess we'll just throw the yellow here. I guess, but you just changed the entire race because of a wheel nut that's laying on the infield. Basically, it's just I just don't understand it.
I don't know if you ever will.
We're never going to. No. I mean, does
that aggravate you?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, and listen, and it didn't. I mean,
his face is getting
turning really red.
That's just normal. But and we were not going to be a top 5 car yesterday. I think we were even fading before that. But still, like if we would have stayed top 10, we would have probably ran top 10. It's just once you get back into 20s, it's hard to dig your way out of there.
Yeah, I watched Bubba trying to win that stage, and then you guys all stayed out there. I think Bubba really hurt.
He definitely. He said it. He said it as soon as he said. Well, I abused him there, but. He's like, I felt like I had to get the race in Priest.
Yeah.
They both did. But he said that was the first thing he said. He said, we'll see how this goes. But I definitely used him there.
That's what set the tone the rest of the race, I think. I mean, because I was like, oof, he's going to pay the price for that.
Yeah, he said it immediately.
All right. When asked about Throwback Weekend, Chase Elliott said, I feel like it got old 4 to 5 years ago. I think we've rode the horse to death. I'm going to just go ahead and say I think he's spot on.
Spot on?
Spot on. I do. I don't think that they should do away with it. I just think that there should be maybe, I don't know if it's every couple years, every 5 years. Like, I do agree with him on the fact that you're eventually going to be running out of stuff to do. I mean,
there's the reason first of all, I'm spot off just because it's not for Chase, it's for the people sitting in the grandstands.
True.
I don't think he didn't like his design.
He also had every right to be mad.
I was going to say, and also these comments also happen to come from the guy with the worst throwback of the weekend. But yeah, listen, it's definitely, you see, I think it was, what was it, Alex? 19 cars didn't run throwbacks this week. And listen, for me. Part of it is the damn number placement because some of them look good, but they look stupid. Like the Cindric car, the throwback to Dale's 1979 car. Like that was well done, but it looks kind of ridiculous with the numbers slid all the way forward. Like maybe for this week, maybe we can just let them have the number placement back for whatever they want to do. The Xfinity guys, and listen, a lot of this, I'm sure people understand this, but a lot of this is sponsor related. Some sponsors don't want to change their colors. Some sponsors don't want to, they want their branding on there. They don't want some random ass paint scheme that ran in 1975 on there, with their, and so, but I think that there's a place for it, and maybe you need to put these guys in a box, but I think they used to, like where it was like, damn, Alex, what'd you do?
That's what I was going to ask. Are there like parameter? Like, so can you throw back? Like, if you wanted to throw it back to like a sprint car design way back in, can you do that?
Yeah,
or does it have to be?
That's what Bell did. Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the teams didn't go by what was said what to do.
Yeah, because
did they give them errors?
There's supposed to be an error. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of the teams didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if there was enough content to match the team's purpose in order to do that, right? So they had to do different things. Like the Wood brothers did a totally different thing, right?
Yeah, IndyCars.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of stuck in the middle of this, to be honest with you. This should be maybe every 5 years of doing this.
That's kind of where
because we're running out of things to do, right? So yeah, let's make a big splash, but let's do it every 5 years. So there's some more designs that come up. There's some more stories to be told. There more things to do. I think we're probably getting a little too redundant here.
And maybe doing it more far apart like that would provide more opportunity to really like hone in on what it's all going to look like as a whole, from the merchandise to what the car looks like give you more time to really, really do it right.
Yeah. There's just, for me, I mean, if it's not done right, it looks bad, and for me, it's got to be, the same number. You know what I mean? Like you like
that's why Xfinity. Some of the Xfinity designs
looked amazing.
Were amazing.
Yeah.
But like I know that Noah was a throwback to Dale's late model. Did it look anything like Dale's late model?
I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, like that's the number 4. It's just like some of them. Like I thought the 5 looked good. We're looking at some of these.
The 42, the Coors Light car was banging. That was good.
But so the petty cars always look good.
51 was incredible.
51, I'm sure you like that one. That must have been cool for you. But yeah, and a lot of times you see that I think the Xfinity guys looked better because they don't have the huge corporate sponsors. So a lot of the ones like the 4, I thought the 4 was the best one of the weekend.
Yeah,
should have won.
That looked amazing, but I couldn't even tell you what the sponsor was, unfortunately. So that's the problem with, you see that car and you just automatically think Kodak instead of Visual Pack. You know what I mean? So that's probably part of it. But for me, if you're going to do it, you got to go all out. It's got to be the right number, a number to match yours. The colors have to be the same for me. I know the 42 was, it
43
was the same
and
scheme.
the 5 Cup cars were probably the best because the design kind of moved the number. Didn't move the number, but it blended in a little bit better for it to look old school. A little
My
bit
favorite
more.
one of the day was probably the 38, just because of the old school,
the
like
old
Long John Silver guy.
I have a question though. Who the still eating Long John Silvers? Like who keeps that in
Hershey
business?
says shit all the
Seriously?
time.
I do. Yeah,
my God.
I just saw that clip during the week, and I sent that to a few people, and got a pretty good response. Because that's me.
Just single-handedly keeping Long John Silvers in business.
I'm a sentimental guy, and like growing up, like on our Friday night, we were always like a fish family. What we'd eat on Friday night. So I just remember as a kid. A real little kid, like we go to the mall, eat at Long John Silver's, and there was a pet store right next to Long John Silver's, so we'd eat our fish and hush puppies, and we go and look at puppies in the window, and like that was my Friday night. So
wait a minute, hold on. You ate hush puppies while you looked at puppies. That seems awkward.
I thought he was going to say we ate the fish and then went and looked at fish. It could be even worse.
Yeah.
God Almighty.
So it's Tony.
If you do the throwback, do it right. Don't just half-ass. Like even. Like what was I know Bell was a.
But if you have to keep it specific to the number and you do it every single year, you're going to run out of.
The
even
thing
faster.
is, the thing for me is
right?
make it like even if you maybe not so much to have to stick to the number, but like the 70, like it's got to be for me. Like you got to look at that car and go, I know what that is. That's Jeff Green's Nesquik car back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of these, you look at them and go, what is that? Like the 4 or some of these like just like Bell. I don't know who. I was a throwback to somebody that helped him get going.
Rick Fergal, that was one of his original car owners.
I've never seen those cars before in my life, so it's so you want to be sentimental about it sometimes too, but at the same time, it's just not a recognizable scheme for our hardcore fan base. That 99 looked really good.
Yeah.
But the 51, the Harry Gant scheme. But
all
even
the
then,
Xfinity cars looked really.
Like I thought it was
really
funny that Chase was one to kind of call it out. And again, knowing my history there, he runs the same number that his dad did. His dad was a legend. So he runs the same number that his dad did. You would think like for him, it'd be the easiest. I'm like, I'm going to run my dad's, one of my dad's scheme and kind of, pay tribute to him. So I think I love it. Me personally, I like it because I like the throwback.
Yeah.
I love it too, but I think let's extend it a little bit more to create some more.
just make it mandatory.
Variation.
Make it mandatory. Figure it out. Figure it out. Get some good. That was a good looking car too. The 28. That was a good one.
I feel like I used to get really excited about getting to look at throwback schemes, and I was not this year. But maybe that's just me. Legacy Motor Club is suing Rick Ware Racing, claiming Rick Ware Racing is trying to back out of a signed agreement to sell one of its charters.
Oh man, this
What's
is a
the
tough
tea?
one.
Obviously, let's set it up. You can't get into a lot of details about it.
Well, again, this goes back to just the way I feel our sport should be run off as an integrity, and the thing that hurts is they have come out and they've said a lot of bad things about Rick Ware, and I'm here to tell you, you can say all you want about what goes on at the track and on the track of the things we're trying to do, but I'm here to tell you Rick Ware is not any one of those things as a person, as an individual, as a father, as a family member, as what they're making him out to be. And it's heartbreaking to have to see him go through all this. Look, I was sick, I was hurting, right, with cancer, and I was out for 6-8 months. That man took care of me, right? That man paid me. That man checked on me. That's Rick Ware, right? That's the guy he is. And he has worked his ass off to be in this position, to be able to sell a charter and live the rest of his life the way his family needs to live. He deserves that. Shame on me for not having the balls as he did, as much as he has, not waiting to sell mine, right? I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I couldn't deal with the political mess. I couldn't deal with the people. I couldn't deal with people screwing me all the time. I just couldn't deal with it. This guy has survived all that. I mean, I don't even know how he's done it. And in the meantime, he's in the back doing his business, what he needs to be doing to set himself up and his family to live the rest of their lives comfortably. And that's his prerogative, right? That's he deserves that. He put himself in that position. Look, I will fight for Rick Ware as much as I'll fight for anybody right now, because that is not Rick Ware.
I think that, and listen, if you listen to the show long enough, we've been very critical of Rick Ware Racing in the past. And Hirsch, you've lived it with me. Like, for the longest time, those would be the first 2 cars you'd come to on the racetrack, and we were always going, why the hell are they even out here? And to your point, to Rick's credit and his character, I think he's doing something very difficult this year for the public to understand perceptually. Like, he made moves last year. He made moves a couple years ago. He hired Robbie Benton. He hired your old ass to come over there and get really good people in there to start turning that deal around. Got, the alliance with RFK. Hired Justin Haley last year to show, like, all right, this is what we're capable of. Now, and Justin ran, I felt like top 15, top 20 almost every week.
And let me tell you something. Rick Ware was spending millions of his own money for Justin Haley. They didn't have enough money to sponsor the full year. Nobody has. It's gotten to the point that Rick was like, look, if I'm going to spend my own money, I'm going to spend it on my son. Yes. I'm not going to spend it anymore on anybody else's career. And that was a major decision that he made, and he got Robbie and I together and go, this is my decision, and you guys are going to make it work. Yeah. Because this is what I want. All right, that's what we're going to do. Look. I know we got to make it work.
People from the outside can look at it, like, to your point, like, and they go, why would you, now you're taking a big step back, which Cody, nobody's going to ever say that Cody is more talented or as talented maybe as Justin Haley, but this is what he wants to do. And he's getting, and Cody's not awful by no means. Like, we give Cody here at times, but a lot of times it was because of the position he was put in by his team. A lot of times he's just out there trying to learn, and sometimes they would leave him out of a pit cycle or whatever and put him mid-pack when he didn't belong there, and happen. But I've spoke to Cody numerous times in the garage, and he's just, like you said, he just wants to get better, and he's getting better. As we go this year, he's getting better. You can see it. So I think it says a lot to Rick's character, Tony, of I'm willing to, I don't give a what it looks like to anybody else. I'm going to go racing with my kid and make this work. And obviously, you're seeing a little bit of the benefits of it.
Yeah, for sure. They've definitely come leaps and bounds from where they were at a few years ago. So that's the name of the game. You get good people in place, and like I said,
we have a really good race team. Yeah. I mean, you plug the right amount of funding in there, and we build another. We can run in the top 15. I mean, again, you guys were running 25th to 28th. Mm-hmm. One track position change, your top 5. I mean, that's how quick it can change, right? I mean, Cody's not ready for that yet, right? We're not ready to really put him in that position. We got him in that position yesterday. And unfortunately, we made a wrong adjustment on the car, but we were supposed to be there. We were on the lead lap still. You guys pitted. My crew chief made a good decision to stay out, and we got a caution, right? We were on the lead lap. It didn't work out the way we wanted to, but we ended up 27th on the lead lap. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
People, when the funny thing is, people are going to listen to this and go, well, yeah, you ended up 27th. You don't have any idea how hard it is to run 27th.
No.
It sounds weird to say that, but when you're running back, we were running 20th for the end of the race last year, and you look around and you're surrounded by top teams.
Yeah, I mean, you're not seeing Cody cause any problems during the race. No. We're very sensitive to everybody's situation because of Cody's experience, right? He's never really had a chance to drive really good race cars until the past couple of years, right? This is the first time he's gotten into really good equipment. So we don't cause any problems when we get in lap. We pull over, we let everybody go, we choose the right line. You guys communicate good with Brent. What line you want, I hear it. Hey, this is what he wants. He does exactly. There's no problems. We stay out of everybody's way. He's not in any trouble. No. Not like you from yesterday, causing a caution.
Well, right? I told you. Right. I got to get Denny in there somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. Ross Chastain fences Christopher Bell with 23 laps to go, battling for second in the Xfinity race on Saturday.
Go to Hirsch first.
Spot on, spot off.
You guys see which one you guys team me up on all the time. Let's talk about Martinsville again. No, it's spot off on that. I would say. We talked about it before. I think Ross he's a phenomenal race car driver. Ton of talent, ton of speed. It's funny, like last week, Logano called him out at Martinsville, on the Cup race about, what happened, and then Ross just how he races on a weekly basis or on a regular basis anyhow. And Ross I just don't appreciate that. I don't think it's warranted. And then the very next week, you go out and you do that in the Xfinity. We kind of stuff Bell and run him out of room. He would have done the same thing to Chase. Chase just rolled out of it and gave him that whatever the half a car length that he needed or something like that. So. The aggression, I get it. There's a difference on being an aggressive race car driver and not jeopardizing others. Like there's times that make a move or not make a move. I'm gonna try to make the move, but you also again gotta respect the other guys that you're ultimately in control. And that's one thing my dad always said growing up. Like you can do whatever you want, but you're in control of your race car. It's not the other guy's jobs to take care of you all the time, then cut you that 2 feet. You're in charge when you run guys out of space or you run in the back of them or you're tearing their door numbers off through the corner and then they get free and they get into you. It's like that's your fault. It's not their fault that you put them in bad spots repeatedly. So again, I think a lot of Ross, but that aggression and. So I would go spot off on that because, again, he put a couple guys in really bad spots. He cost Bell a better finish, and I know the 17 wasn't happy with him either. So sometimes you got to –
It's funny that, last week the discussion was we need more Cup drivers in these Xfinity races to, get the level of respect up, and they won't race like that. There's more Cup guys, and then we go to the next race, and it's the Cup guy. That seems to be the problem. But listen, it's just, maybe it's Darlington because that was the crux of it the last time, right? When Rick Hendrick finally said something about it, when I think he stuffed, was it Elliott or Byron in the wall into one there when he was running the UPS scheme. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just a Darlington thing for him, but for sure, listen, we said on here a couple weeks ago, I forget what track it was, maybe Homestead. Ross is just, he is probably, I think I saw a stat this week from Racing Analytics there that, he is the hardest guy to pass. And it's because he puts you in those situations where you either lift or we're going to crash, and most of the guys are just smart enough to all right, well, I guess I'm going to lift here because it's lap 50 of whatever run this is and we don't need to be done with it. But it's just not sustainable for me. You know what I mean? It's just, you're going to end up on the wrong side of it more times than not, I feel like. And it's just, I know you're going to go old man on the lawn yelling at everybody, but, just, do you have to race this hard all the time?
No, you don't. It's just, what? Turns 1 and 2 at Darlington, when you get up the hill there, that's where the pinch starts, right? There's just that one little spot. The track gets so narrow. There's really only room for, 1.5 cars because the grip level on the lower side is gone, right? And it's never been there, really. And it's always been that's where you do your passing. That's where you get that guy to stop. He has to stop. Yeah. If he's not going to stop, you're going to get run into or you're going to push off a 4. Used to be 4.
Yeah.
You guys who weren't even born yet, probably.
Hirsch probably spotted it.
Yeah. But, you're going to push off a 2 and hit the wall. So when you get them in that position, you got to lift, right? And I think Ross and other drivers, I'm not just saying Ross, when you get themselves in that position, you're going in and you're like, oh, come on, left, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's, what I think, I'm starting to think it might be Phil. I'm wearing the old Phil Cation t-shirt today. Maybe it's Phil Smalley because he helps manage Ross. He helps manage Hocevar. Do you think maybe he's the one telling these guys, you got to be super aggressive and run everybody in the fence?
Let's just blame Phil. That's the easiest thing to do.
Hashtag blame Phil.
Is he going on vacation, I hope?
No, this is just Phil Cation. It's always Phil Cation.
Always.
He texted me this weekend asking if he could sign Wyatt, so maybe I should say no.
No.
Yeah, don't let him do it. Wyatt's going to turn into a really aggressive driver if you let him go over there.
God, he already is. We don't need more of that.
Karsyn? Anything this week?
Honestly,
are you fired up that I didn't call you last night to go to the bar?
I wasn't fired up until I sat down at this table and found out that you all hung out without me.
Apologies.
I wasn't invited either.
Tommy calls. He goes on the way home. He goes, "Are you going to stop anywhere?" I said, me and Hirsch are going to stop at Big Al's on the way home. I really didn't invite anybody else.
I honestly am flattered though, because you said that you didn't want it to get as out of hand as last Sunday, which means I'm fun. So
you are definitely.
I'll take it.
Last Sunday definitely got away from us a little bit, but last night ended up getting away from us a little bit anyway.
Imagine that.
Strickler and Austin showed up with Austin's dad. Shout out to Austin's dad for coming out.
When I see Strickler walk into a bar, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Here we go.
They text me. I was literally, I text Meg because I was on the way home and they text and they're like, "Hey, Big Al's," and I was like, "Son of a." I was like, "Yep, I'm right now 9 o'clock ETA or whatever." Then I text Meg. I'm like, "Strickler and Austin are coming." She's like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "What do you think it means?"
I'll be home at 2.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
So
what
Meg
that
and
means.
John showed up and Phil was there. Phil and Brim, but yeah, it's just it was not as wild as last week. I needed a break from last week because last week was show.
That was show. When the strip club was on the table, I was like, "This ain't good. This ain't good."
So there's nothing that's got you fired up?
No, I mean, really, I had
nothing during the week.
I had a chill weekend. It's Monday. Nothing's pissed me off yet.
Last week we had all week.
Last week? No, I had a pretty chill week. Good
We're
weekend.
gonna have to figure some stuff.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I'm gonna just start with Karsyn during the week just to piss her off, I guess.
I mean, that's nothing new.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing new. All right, so let's get into some reaction theater where fans can call in and maybe I'll get fired up from reaction
theater. I'm
theater.
sure this is going to be very rational calls.
Any resumes?
I'm sure. Oh, God.
Guys, any resumes?
No new resumes.
No resumes. Probably a lot of Blainies and toasters and bathtubs.
I'm sure we'll see. How many calls we got, Alex?
We have 9 that are good. Total, we probably had like 160. So normal.
Normal week. Good job. Hope we got some good ones.
Let's get into it.
Hey, it's Dale Jr. and for the latest DBC gear, we need you to go to shop.dirtymomedia.com. We've got plenty of options, and we're adding new stuff all the time. Shop.dirtymomedia.com.
Are you kidding me, Larson? It's lap 3! Why are you wrecking yourself? Where are all the Blaney fans? Give me all your toasters. I'm going to go into a hot tub and light myself on fire. It's lap 3. You're the greatest driver in the world. You're in the Tony the Tiger car. And you wrecked on lap 3 at one of your best tracks. Fuck!
Oh, so that was the early.
Yeah,
he was mad about the beginning.
Kyle Larson, you son of a... You handed a win to Denny Hamlin in the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota? When you crashed the car again, you son of a... Oh my God! I freaking love you, Larson, but God damn it, man! You gave it to him on a silver platter.
I think he's crying.
How could you?
It sounds upset.
I can't tell if that person's like 13, a boy, a girl.
Or just, it sounded to me like he was 60 and upset.
Okay.
That was actually Tommy that called.
I am not 60
It's
yet.
on the way. You're not 60 yet?
Not yet.
I'll be, 59? Let me get.
Coming.
Okay, so apparently Ryan Blaney's just too polite to say what needs to be said on television. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it for him. Is it that hard to put a jack under a goddamn car? I'm begging you, Tommy Baldwin. I need your help. I need somebody to go into the competition meeting with me and flip some tables.
Tommy'd be a good one.
Tommy's probably flipped a table or two over in his day. Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Hey, I wish we could take 5 fans, right, out of the grandstands with a car, give them the equipment.
Just go.
Okay, you're going to change, you're going to carry, you're going to jack. Go ahead.
How long do you think it would take them?
Minutes.
Probably. Yeah. First they would pick up the gun and we go.
First of all, would probably get the car off the ground.
No,
you don't.
No. I mean, I think that should be done, and we should video to understand, right? To make everyone understand how hard it is.
How hard it is just to get the car off the ground.
Yeah.
I don't think you could take anybody out of grandstands that could. I mean, I'm sure there's some big guys out there. But
I mean, we can pick. Hey, he looks like a jackman. Hey, he looks like a tire. I think we could do a nice draft out of the grandstands and grab them and say, all right,
you do
go
it.
do it, and step back and let them. Well, what do we do? go do it.
Yeah.
That should be a part of the pit stop challenge at the All-Star race.
The thing that I took away from looking at that video is I think Flores is on the front, and like when the Jackman's having an issue, the tire changer is just sitting there. He's just sitting there waiting. Ryan's like, get this thing off the ground so I can pull this tire off. It seems like, so it must be just the most disheartening feeling. Like you're leading the race, here comes the money stop, and you're just sitting there waiting. Like now, like your race is over, basically.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, obviously he had the best car. He should have won until you ran into the 5.
I didn't touch anybody. Talk to Bubba about that.
Oh my God, that race. The ending of that race is worse than if I took a cheese grater to my balls. Of course,
not recommended.
Denny has to just get gifted a win. I hate this. Oh my God, I'm about to go get blackout drunk.
Oh my
Cheese
God.
grater. There's probably some people that would enjoy that, I would imagine, in this crazy ass world.
Whatever golden horseshoe that some Denny Hamlin has shoved up his arsehole. What the man? Of course, Freddie's like, he's the greatest. Man, get the out. As much as I love Freddie, get the out of here.
I say that a lot, too.
Congratulations. Why? 2 weeks in a row. So I'm talking about. Anyway, see you boys in Bristol next week. Back doors coming in hot.
What do you say? Back doors coming in hot? That sounds.
Not
maybe that's his
good.
nickname.
Maybe I don't. That doesn't. Be careful with that. Yeah, kiss my ass. That's fine. Speaking of back doors.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, to leave an audio message 24/7, you can call our number 704-802-9572, and we'll play the best ones each week on the show. And just try not to hurt Freddie's feelings. He's sensitive.
I have one feeling, and if you heard it, I got upset.
Just one.
Hirsch knows that, right, Hirsch? I mean, Hirsch hurt my feelings one time. Let's what's the? I guess Trophy Club is probably the best story of you screwing me over.
Trying to do the right thing.
Hirsch, we're in Texas, and I'm staying in the town Trophy Club, and me and Hirsch go out, and I might have been a little intoxicated. So Hirsch decides it's time for us to leave. And
being a psychologist he is.
Yeah, babysitter at this point.
Once he fell asleep at the bar, they made us leave. So it wasn't really a decision.
Hirsch had a checklist of like everything he had to do for me as the year went on to make sure I made it to the racetrack the next day usually. But so we get an Uber, and Hirsch, I guess you got out first, right? Or maybe you just sent me on my own Uber. I don't remember.
No, we
said,
went together.
Where are you staying? I said Trophy Club. The town. Didn't say like I'm at the Fairfield in the Trophy Club like a dumbass. So Hirsch just looks up, oh, Trophy Club has a country club, and there's a country club and Trophy Club. Must be staying there. Sure enough, somehow I end up at this country club. It's freezing cold. It's like 30 degrees. I have t-shirt, shorts. Hirsch is gone. Tommy, I was not even coherent. I get out. I'm like, where the am I now? Now I'm in a gated community, so the next Uber can't even come to get me. I'm like, Hirsch, what the? He's like, I don't know. You told me to go to Trophy Club.
Yeah. So, yeah, he has to send me his itinerary every week, so I have his actual hotel address.
Yeah. Jesus.
Credit cards,
How'd
phone
you get out of
charger.
there?
I don't remember, honestly, if I had to be honest. The Uber somehow got in there to get me out, and I went home. But, yeah, that was a long weekend. I think that was the year. Was it the year we were in Texas for like a month?
That was at 5.
Well, yeah, when we had that mist that was around
Wednesday.
Yeah.
It never rained, but we didn't race 4 days. It's just like a heavy mist forever.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for Ask DBC. You can send in your questions on X each week using hashtag AskDBC. And why would you do this to me? You know I can't read either of these names that are on this paper.
Come on.
Aaron from VA.
I want Aaron from VA. I met him last week, actually, at Martinsville. I just want to hear you try to say it.
Oh, God.
This is going to be the highlight of my
With
show.
Alex, dude, I can't.
Come on, give it a...
What? I can't do this.
These aren't even that bad.
That was pretty close.
They're not even bad.
You almost said
Yeah, these are. I mean, if you don't know the second one, we're not even gonna be able to talk to you anymore.
Wayne Gretzky. Okay. That has to be that.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know hockey?
Clearly, she's a huge fan.
Yeah.
I have been to 2 NHL games in my life, and I really was.
And recently, right?
Yeah, I went to my first Canes game when we were in Wake last week, and then I went to a Tampa Bay game with the Brants a couple years ago. It was fun. I just don't really have a lot of time to sit down and watch other.
Hell of a night at the Raleigh.
Hockey games are fun. I go there to get drunk and watch them fight.
Same. Weird.
So, anyways, with those two,
wait.
Alex breaking Wayne's NHL goal record.
Can you say it so the guy
Can
can
you
get
say
some
the right
credit
name?
where
Yeah.
it deserves?
With Alex
please?
Ovechkin breaking Wayne Gretzky's NHL goal record, is there a record in NASCAR that you guys think will never be broken?
Okay, I almost had it.
You did almost have it. I told you. Nobody's ever going to win 200 races,
No,
obviously.
exactly.
Just because the competition's too tough. And I think this is probably, I don't want to call it a hot take because I hate when people say it's a hot take, but I think that Kyle's 200, whatever he's at now, National Series wins is more impressive than Richard's 200 Cup wins, just for the sheer competition factor. And I know you spotted for 150 of them, probably. So I mean, talk about just talk about that, like that run with Kyle. It had to be incredible. I mean, you were winning. It seemed like 2 races every weekend.
Yeah, that's what my teammates are doing now, and I'm the only one that's not able to pull it off. I mean, Stevie's done it a few times. Lambert did it this week, and so congrats to those guys. But yeah, again, like I said earlier, working with Kyle Busch, so is one of the all-time talents. So it's always, for what we do, it doesn't matter if people ask me all the time, like, man, how'd you work with him? And it had to be tough work with him. I'm like, no, not at all. We didn't really have any cross words. Again, I worked with my dad, so
yeah.
The expectations are just high. So you go into every race and you know you have the possibility to win that one. So if you do your job, and as a spotter, as a crew chief, as you pit crew guys, if you do your job, the driver behind the wheel is going to be up front. So that was a great run. I love working with Kyle. Obviously later on, once the kids started coming into the truck side, and I started working with them full time. Even when they started limiting him, running his limited amount of Cup races and Xfinity races, I loved working with the younger guys and then going head to head with Kyle. As much as I liked working with him, I know we would get under his skin because we'd beat him a few times. But to me, that's that was a badge of honor to take a younger guy and try to help him along and teach them things that I know like I learned by watching Kyle for all those races. So to go head to head with him and be able to beat him is definitely a great accomplishment. Like I said, I know it got under his skin, which made me smile even a little bit more. But that's part of it. You just, again, successful by association, and to be able to work with Kyle and do that and win 20, 30 races a year between all 3 series is pretty impressive.
I saw a stat last week, and I can't pull it up right now, but like the winning seasons is a record that may fall. I've seen, I think Danny and Kyle were maybe 3 years behind Richard. I think Richard had maybe 23 winning seasons, and now I think Danny's maybe at 19 or 20, and Kyle's at 20 or 19 or 20. That's a record that may fall. I think that I think Denny could probably win for another 3 or 4 years. He's got a shot at least winning 1 race every year for the next 4 years. So that one they might be able to eclipse Richard there, which would be very impressive. But I think just the sheer competition factor, nobody's ever going to win as many races as Richard did.
No, I mean, and again, back then they ran 3, 4 times, 5 times a week.
And Inman was probably cheating his ass off.
Oh yeah. He still's cheating. He walks with a little bit of limp in the garage. Lead's still coming out of his pants, still to this day.
I obviously spent a couple years over there, and it was really fun just to be in the lounge Sunday morning. Richard and Dale would be in there, and Richard walks on water in the Cup Series garage, right? I mean, when that guy comes anywhere, you just see him, and you're like, oh my God, that's the king. That's just that. But nobody would with him more than Dale Inman would.
Oh yeah.
And I forget, Richard having to go to an appearance, and he's like, oh, I got to go around the front now, whatever. And Dale just sat back and he said, I'm sorry I made you so famous.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
You guys got any shows this week?
Man, not really. I don't know.
The Xfinity
I
race
guess
won last weekend.
Oh,
I mean,
no
that was the
kidding.
only thing nominated.
No kidding.
It was the only thing nominated.
Who won?
But
Was it like option A or B or C?
yeah, I think we put 3 different options on there, but regardless,
I think option A won. First one.
Everybody just clicked on it immediately.
Do we have some late additions here? They're not.
We have any short track?
I couldn't find any right now, but
yeah, there wasn't.
There's
I didn't.
a
A lot of
rainouts
rainouts this week.
Yeah.
It rained out. I feel like Thompson rained out again. Tom, just in case you were wondering, I don't know.
That was good and bad for me. I wasn't going, and if they did race, it would have changed my schedule drastically for the rest of the year.
So now you're back on the original schedule.
Yeah, back on the original schedule, I guess.
So it rained out last week, so we're sitting in the suite talking about if he's going to go this week or not during Luke's race in the truck race. And he's like, it actually helps me out a little bit because I was going to go to this one and then we were probably going to get caught up maybe chasing some points and have to add some races to the schedule. So now this is kind of relieving me that I don't have to do that. Now he's back to having to do that again.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. They'll have some fun. I mean, going racing with the kids, right?
Yeah.
And Smart Race was a really good race this Saturday. This past Saturday night at Orange County. Luke ended up 5th, extended his points lead a little bit. Struggled a little bit in the first part of the run, had a right rear tire get a little big on him. Was probably running 65 laps in qualifying trim,
that's good,
so to speak. And he had to drive back to 5th, and the car was good. We struggled a little bit with Jack. I think we had a little past 2 weeks of crash issues still going on our car. We found a couple things yesterday, so I think we're going to be good for this upcoming week at Hickory. But I do want to make a point that the last couple of weeks we've had a lot of issues, right? And there was some really good side-by-side racing at that race this past weekend from front to back. I mean, everybody respected each other. I mean, they battled hard for the lead. Even Ryan Newman said, man, it was some clean, hard fought racing. And kudos to Ryan Newman winning the race. I know it's hard, man.
Yeah,
it's hard. And the best part of the weekend was his daughter. I don't know if you guys, his daughter is racing the crate mod. And
oh, really?
Yeah, and she did a really good job. She ended up 4th, and she ran well. I mean, she at the end of the race, she was running as quick as the leaders were. But it's fun watching something like that grow, right?
What happened to McMurray's kid?
I don't know how he ended up. I looked up and he was in the wall.
I was in a little bit of panic because obviously Jamie was here last week, a couple weeks ago, and I turned it on. I was like, they're racing. I got to turn it on. I turned it on. He's in the fence, and the ticker had not updated yet. Because and right behind him, I think was Luke. I was like, oh no! Please tell me he had to do with this.
No. Jamie's had expensive last couple.
So before we get to Alex's late additions to the show, I did want to also mention the Arco West race.
Yeah, that was a good
race. Did you see the finish of that thing? That was really good. Shout out to Tanner Reif won, Eric Johnson Jr., and I think it's Jake Bowman that was driving McAnally's car. Mm-hmm. Showed you how to do it.
Yep.
That was how you do it. 3 wide. Nobody touched anybody. Looked like Tanner had some more tire left than anybody at the end, but that's the way you do it. If you go on the Arca Menards Twitter, Facebook page, whatever it is, and find that video. But that's the way to do it.
It was on Flow. We could have pulled that up, Freddie.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, Alex. Who's the late additions to the show?
Well, there's one. The Dodgers player Kike Hernandez had a very funny hat, and when they wanted to post him on their social media, they had to Photoshop it. I don't know if Dalton has the photo up of what the hat says.
Oh my God!
He wore that hat.
Yeah.
Nobody can see it, so you better tell the listeners what it says.
The guy has a hat on.
We can see that, right?
No, they can't.
No, they
well, they
people
just
that are
say
listening
that.
can't.
It says Butthole Whispers, and there's a skull between some butt cheeks. And where do you even buy a hat like that? Do you think? I don't come across those in the stores that I shop at.
Your Twitter replies are about to be full of links to buy those hats. Careful what you wish
Megan,
for.
if I buy another hat, Megan's gonna. I have a hat problem, and it's.
But you wear the same one every day.
I blame Instagram because I get nothing but like New Era and just ads, and I just bought a Rangers hat the other day.
Yeah, Jack does the same thing. He's got 47 hats laying around the house with all these different sayings that I don't even know what they mean.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, you probably don't want to ask about that. Yeah. Show, I don't know. I guess you put us and Larson on there. I think that's probably going to win because I don't really remember. You can put Ross on there for running Bell in the fence.
I don't. But I think Kyle is. I mean, again, it wasn't done intentionally. He didn't do. I mean, I just ended up turning the race into a show for some.
Yeah, for sure. Shit, put the fucking debris caution on there.
Okay.
Oh, you're not happy about that, are you?
I'm not happy at all.
What is it? A caution should be a caution?
A caution's a caution.
Right.
Whenever, I mean.
From lap 1 to lap.
Yeah, but that's not a caution. There's nothing wrong. Where's the harm in that thing laying against the inside wall? When was the last time you saw anybody down there that wasn't crashed?
Would you ever realize where that thing ended up if it got hit?
How was it going to get hit?
I don't know.
How? Maybe. How is it ever going to get hit down there?
I don't know, but could have.
No, it could not have.
He's just mad.
No. Hirsch definitely thought it should have been a caution. He was probably down there telling Sacco, "Did you see that thing way down there?"
He was the one that was yelling.
Yeah,
he called it in.
Hirschman. 54 says there's debris on the cookout sign on the bottom of the front straightaway that we'll never ever see if you don't go pick it up.
Safety first, Freddie.
That's right.
Jesus.
All right, so essentially we have no
real. I mean, thank you. Good job, everybody. No real no shows.
Oh, let's get to.
Oh, Tommy's ready for the next segment. He knows what page we're on now.
Oh, all of a sudden he's back in the game.
DBC Picks.
Hell
Tommy finally won one this year.
My man Ross
came through for Tommy.
That's perfect. Oh,
where are we going next? Bristol. All right.
Oh, Karsyn goes first.
Do I? I'm not ready.
Yep, you do go first.
All right, while I look, you explain.
Hirsch, you got to pick.
Yeah.
So.
I already got my guy.
You got your guy.
Well,
Bristol.
Bristol. I don't know.
Oh, okay, we'll just sit here and wait for you.
I'm gonna.
No rush. Don't take your time.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna just put some good juju on Ryan Blaney. Let's hope that maybe something good will happen to him.
Your guy finished 28th, and you think you're putting good juju on somebody this week?
Yeah, I mean, I've won more than you have this year. So.
She's leading. She is leading.
You actually do have 2 wins too.
Three.
I'm saying but
first place.
Like first place
wins
in the race.
Yeah.
Tommy won with a 7th. Congratulations, Tom. Way to go.
Better than the rest of you guys.
All right, Hirsch, who you got?
I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs.
I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah, we were really good at Bristol last year. JGR as a whole was really good at Bristol, so we got the ball rolling, so let's keep it rolling.
It's my turn. I don't know who I want to take here.
Well, that's okay. I guess we'll just sit here.
We'll just sit here and wait for me now. I'll take Busher. Did I pick Busher yet?
Doesn't appear so.
Nope. I'll take Busher.
Thomas?
I am going to go with Joey Logano.
All right.
Joey Logano. You know somebody I don't know that he's getting finishes that are great, but somebody that I think that caught a lot of heat in the beginning of the year when his deal was announced, but I think he's running much better than really anybody would have expected is Ty Dillon. Like, I feel like I look up and, like I said, he's not running top 5. He's not below the field. But I think if you would have polled everybody, they probably would have told you he would have run 25th or 30th every week. And you look up and he probably should have won Phoenix. Like, if he doesn't speed on pit road, he's in position to win that race. And then, yesterday I noticed he caught that caution at the right time, and then he just cycled that track position, and then he kind of maintained it. I don't know where he finished. I'm sure it was 15th-ish probably.
We have it in here.
Oh, do we have I forget. Alex does such a good job. I forget about it. But
16th.
Yeah, so I mean that's really, really good. You know what I mean? And there was another place last week I think he was running really well. So it's just a shout out to him because I know that. And I worked with him last year in a truck series, and just a good guy. I mean, he's just always been, he catches a lot of heat for maybe not having the success people hoped, but he's just a good dude, and he's proving people wrong about that car. I feel like is running better than it did last year. And that's a credit to him.
Yep, them and the 47 team is another team at the end. They are pulling a rabbit out of their ass because they are. I look up at the end. I said, "How the hell did he finish 20th? How the hell did he finish 24th?" Because he was running 34th to 36th all day, right? And they kept working on it. They never gave up. Got the caution, put himself in good position. There they are, another good, decent finish.
Yep.
And sure. I mean, that's a one-car team. It's hard, man. It's hard.
Them guys are big podcast fans, by the way. Mike Kelly and the boys over there, a bunch of my buddies. Yeah. They get to enjoy the podcast. So
shout out to Mike Kelly for pulling another rabbit out of his.
Good work, Kelly.
Yeah.
The magician, the great.
Yeah, that's what his new nickname is.
The magnificent Mike Kelly.
Yeah, that's what. The magician, Mike Kelly.
Where are we at this week? We're going to Bristol. Hirsch, do you even go home? I mean, I guess you got to fly home today, and then you're coming right back.
Yeah, I'm going to go home today. We got lacrosse practice tonight, lacrosse game on Wednesday for the little one. So
no racing for them, huh?
No, not yet.
He's smart.
Yeah, they tried with Mia when she was the first granddaughter that come along. They had her in every pedal car race. She's a 2-time North-South shootout pedal car race winner.
That thing was cheated up.
I mean, with Matt and my dad, Matt had her out in the driveway with a lot of practice.
He
a lot of testing.
He had that thing light.
Yeah, but now no racing for them. My nephew, Buddy, Right
Not yet, huh?
Not yet. Nope. He's into basketball. He's into football.
He's into falling down a lot.
He is accident prone, so maybe keeping him away from a race car is probably the best thing.
Well,
but
he's always running around at the track.
Yeah.
I mean, I stop and play ball with him every time I get, because he's always got something in his hand. So I always stop and play with him. But it's
yeah, no, it's you know how it is. It's just hard, as busy as they are at the race shop there with what Matt's got going on and with the business now, to find time to go with Buddy, even if it was a quarter midget or something like that, to have somebody go with them. They're gone a lot, with Matt's racing. So it's just it's hard. It's hard to pull it off. There's only so many hours in the day and so many days in the week, and it's hard to. When everybody's, obviously Matt's been pretty successful. So when everybody's gunning for you, it's like you got to keep working harder and harder and harder and harder to try to stay where you're at and keep getting the wins that you are. So it's not. Sometimes it looks easy for people, and the same like with Kyle Busch. Everybody's like, well, it's just so easy for him. It's not easy to run good anywhere in any series. It's not easy. There's nothing easy about winning a race at any level.
I
whether it's a
enjoy
four-cylinder.
beating your brother more than anybody because I know how hard and how good he is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing more satisfying than running with him and beating him. And I hate running second to him. Hate it.
You just got to wreck them like we do at the Derby and stuff like that. That's, I think me and Hirsch, did you win this year? I don't remember what happened this year. Who won the Derby this year?
Now, who won this year?
I don't know. I thought you did. You didn't win this year?
No, we got turned around on the last lap. Remember?
Yeah, I think you turned around.
Probably it wasn't me.
Actually, yes, good point. Yeah, upon further review,
It wasn't us. I don't think it was us. Was it?
we were underneath, up off of 4. We were underneath is Andy J.
Oh,
up
yeah, it was
underneath
us.
And then Jimmy misjudged, and I
Oh,
think
my
he nicked him
God.
in the back and turned us through the
Allegedly.
So
Who ended up winning?
Not Andy. Who won that race?
Timmy.
Timmy.
Oh, that's right, Timmy. Yeah.
How did we forget that? Timmy running fourth. Andy J.
Now you're gonna bury the
damn
poor guy.
Andy J. Son of a. Now I'm mad again. Damn it! I was just.
But you caused it. Why are you
No,
mad?
Andy J caused it. Like he was in the way. We were all getting wrecked because of him. I felt like. Who else was? Somebody else was in that mix too that stayed up there. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Get out of the way, Hirsch.
You can't keep
Hey,
talking
good
about
news.
modifieds.
Good news. We're not gonna be able to fight this year. I'm sorry. My guy's not gonna
Never
run.
say never.
Hey, don't
No,
lie.
you'll come up with another deal, and we'll still be. Jimmy put somebody good in his car.
We'll put James in there
You'll
to
be
wipe him
spotting
out.
for Luke.
Oh yeah, I'll be spotting for Luke. We'll really wreck it. Oh man. Anyway, what do you got going on this week, Thomas? Modified
Hickory.
racing, Hickory racing.
This week, Hickory, and Luke is going to test tomorrow in a ThorSport Ford F-150
Here,
at
right?
Charlotte. Yep. Getting ready for Kansas. And we got Hickory on Saturday. Then I'll be at Bristol on Sunday. Both Corey LaJoy is running the 01 for us, and Cody, obviously. And then next week we have next week's week off, but we race Thompson on Wednesday. So we got a pretty busy next 7-8 days. 10
Carson,
days.
you going racing?
I myself am actually going racing on Wednesday.
You're
racing
driving?
this week?
Millbridge.
Millbridge?
Yep.
You're driving?
Yeah. What?
You got a motor for that thing? I mean, last year we had
cheated up?
problems.
Actually, we did switch to a 450 this year instead of a 500, and when we went testing, my sister blew up a 500 twice, and I didn't blow up once. So I'm gonna keep the 4-stroke.
It's
I
a
think.
kart, right? It's
It's an outlaw cart. And then Car Store, we go to Cordell this week or Cordial, excuse me. Cordial for the first time. I'm excited. I've never been there before.
Boss man running?
Yes.
Has he announced that yet?
Yeah. They have. Yeah. I'm excited though. It should be cool. It looks like a really nice facility. So
It is. I've been there a few times with the Supers. It's a really cool place.
Didn't you end up in the watermelon patch? Was it Kyle that ended up driving out like the backstretch?
Yeah, I was
Were you
not
there
along
for that
on it.
one?
No, I was not along on that trip. Thank goodness.
Kyle, there's no wall on the backstretch, right? If you ever seen this place, and there's like a watermelon field behind it, and Kyle ended up, somebody sent him over the backstretch wall. He ended up driving out through the field, down like a dirt road,
Down the street,
down the
right?
street,
Yeah.
back in the front gate.
yeah. We also have some very exciting Car Store news coming out on Friday. So keep your eyes peeled.
is it?
on that.
Actually, really good. I mean, the other news we could talk about is they're going to be FS1.
Yes.
When is that?
Yeah.
North Wilkesboro?
North Wilkesboro. We moved from Wednesday to Thursday, Friday. So we'll practice, qualify both divisions, and race the pros on Thursday, and that'll be on Flow Racing like normal. And then on Friday, at the conclusion of all the Cup stuff, we're going to roll 8 model stocks out there and race on FS1.
That's a big deal for a lot. There's a big deal for a lot of, obviously, all the names in the cars tour, for sure, just to get the cars tour in front of people. All these guys, young guys on track. Really good opportunity for Eric Brennan, Blake McCandless, who do an unbelievable job in the Cars Tour booth, to get their names out there a little bit more. Eric obviously did the ARCA race and did a great job earlier this year, but now Blake to join him on TV is going to be big for them too. So just a lot of really good stories that come out of that, and obviously you got more to come. But that'll be a fun weekend.
That's a fun weekend. The modifieds, I think we race.
You guys are on Sunday.
Sunday
afternoon.
Cars, so,
I got a camper there this year. I'm gonna be there from Thursday to Sunday.
I'm staying.
Post it up.
Where's it at?
I'm not telling you.
I'll bring it back.
Only if you're delivering beer, I'll let you know where it's at, but not for any other reason.
You're busy. You're not going to have time to drink.
I'll be busy Thursday, Friday, and then I'm celebrating.
Are you spotting for Luke? Did you
think
say?
so.
Because normally you put your dates in. This is what I'm doing. Okay.
I think so. I think we discussed this on St. Patty's Day over green beer. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm spotting.
Okay.
What else was there this week? I saw Landon Huffman won a race finally, first time in 20 years probably. So congrats to him. He was very happy to hear Mark Martin say his name last week, I think. So it was very exciting for him.
They gave him the extra push he needed on Saturday.
Sad news in the racing world, though. We did lose, really a legend of the garage for me. Shiggy Hattori unfortunately passed away in a motor vehicle accident over the weekend. We saw it last night at the bar, and I couldn't believe it. It's just a guy that's always been around. Bubba ran a couple races over there, I think, in his Xfinity car, his truck. I can't remember what it was. And like Austin Hill, I spotted a couple K&N races maybe for them over there. But just sad news, and we're thinking about his family. Thoughts and prayers go out to them.
Absolutely.
Hirsch, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
It's about time we figured this out. Anything else you want to talk about that we forgot? I don't know.
No, you hit all my sore spots for the last couple of weeks, so appreciate
I really
that.
wish. I'm unfortunately, so Tony lives in Pennsylvania.
And you can tell he's mad. Look at him.
Yeah,
he got him really.
Tony lives in Pennsylvania, so we kind of have to schedule this around when he's here, and so it takes a little, a couple weeks of notice or whatever. But last week would have been the week to have you, because the text messages I got from Tony Saturday night was language I've never heard Tony use before, I don't think, or any Hirschman for that matter. He was a little upset, and he had every right to be at that point. But man, we appreciate you dropping by. We're probably gonna have to go to lunch and maybe kill some time before your flight here. But thanks for listening. We will see you. Good to see everybody in Darlington this week. I saw a bunch of fans again.
Yeah, a bunch.
A lot of people there this week. But we will be back next week. So thanks for tuning in. We're out.
Peace out.
See you.